Welcome, family, to the Undeniable Scriptures TV. Alright, this is my new channel. For those who don't know about my other channel, I expound upon the prophecies. I talk about the government and things they're doing, all the secret societies. So if you haven't subscribed to their channel, go to their channels, Unapologetic Truth. Anyway, let's get to what we're going to be doing today. But before we get to it, I want to give you guys some advice. If you read books and you haven't read these books, you need to really go get these books, right? Now, the first book is by Gert Mueller. Right? It's the Ancient Black Hebrew, Volume 3, the genetic evidence. So it talks about the genetics of the real Hebrew Israelites, right? It's another one. It's the Ancient Black Hebrews, Abraham and his family. This also is by Gert Mueller. Alright, now, this one is the Ancient Black Hebrews, Volume 4. I showed you Volume 3. This is Volume 4. And it's the cover-up. As you can see, it's called the cover-up. Alright. Now this is the Ancient Black Hebrews, Volume 2. This also, it says the forensic proof, simply explained. It's also by Gert Mueller. These are really good books to get. And last but not least, Bible History of the Negro, 1915. This is by Richard Albertus Morrissey. That's his last name. So if you haven't read these books, I really strongly suggest you guys go and get these books. Alright. Today we're going to be getting into World War III. Right? A lot of people don't believe that World War III will happen. A lot of people that do. A lot of people that know the truth, that's in the truth, believe in World War III. A lot of people that's not in the truth don't believe in World War III. Right? Alright, but the prophet Joel spoke about World War III. This is how I know it to be a fact and to be true, because the scripture says it's going to happen. A lot of things that the scripture says is going to happen, it happened, and it's still happening every single day. If you awaken to what the scripture actually says, then you understand that the Bible is true. Right? Alright, we're going to start with Joel chapter 2, verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet. We start right here at verse 1. Blow ye the trumpet. The trumpet is actually a shofar. For people who don't know what they mean by blow the trumpet, it means blow the shofar. Our ancient Hebrew ancestors carried around shofars. There was no trumpets back then. Right? Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble for the day of the Most High, for it is nigh, cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Verse 2. So we're down here at verse 2. a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. Right. So that darkness basically is speaking about all the turmoil, bloodshed, wars, fighting. Not just wars and fighting. It's also going to be major super earthquakes and super volcanic eruptions. Right? Okay, so that's what it means, darkness. Okay? And also, what it means is about a day of clouds and thick darkness. That cloud is going to be from a lot of the gun smoke and from a lot of the smoke from volcanic eruptions and a lot of smoke from these different types of bombs that's going to be dropping in different areas. And all that smoke will rise up. No matter if it's daytime, it's still going to be dark because it's going to be thick that the sun won't be able to shine through. Right? Okay. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. So now he's talking about it's going to be a great people. A great people means many, lots of people, right? So let's see what these people, who these people are, and what these people are going to be doing. A fire devoured before them, which is the war. This is talking about the war. It's talking about martial law. It's talking about not just the war and martial law. It's also talking about civil war, because there will be a civil war in the midst of World War III. This is why on my other channel I spoke about this on the Unapologetic Truth. I spoke about this. It's going to be World War III, yes, and also it's going to be a civil war. Right? That's the fire that devoured before them. And behind them, a flame burneth. Right. So as they go forth and as it keeps going and they're going through, it's going to be a devouring flame before them. They're going to be devouring before them, and after they devour it through, what they don't leave is a gang of fire. Right? The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, before all of this was spoken about by the prophets of the old. They knew, before all of this was spoken about by the prophets of the old, there was the Garden of Eden, which is something like heaven. Right? And behind them, a desolate wilderness. Right? So now, fast forward through the centuries, it's going to be a desolate wilderness. Everything around you is going to be destroyed. Right? All right. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. Nothing's going to escape. It's going to except a certain people the Most High has set aside. The only ones that's going to escape this. And we're going to get to that part later. Verse 4. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. So you're going to be seeing armies from everywhere running to and fro through the earth, wreaking havoc, destroying other people's land. They're going to be destroying these people's land. They're going to be armies walking through neighborhoods, taking people to concentration camps, aka FAMINE camps. I talked about that on my last channel, well, not my last channel, but my other channel. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed to that channel, Unapologetic Truth, go ahead and subscribe, man. Support the channel, man. I'm bringing the truth out 2 ways. Support a brother that's bringing out truth and not lies and deceit. Who's trying to wake people up? Support a brother. Don't just support me, but there's many other brothers and sisters out there who also bringing out the truth. If you haven't subscribed to their channel, please go and subscribe to their channel. If it weren't for you, if you don't help us, then who will? If you truth seekers won't help us, who will? If you won't support us, who will? That's all I'm saying. We're supposed to support each other. Alright, now, verse 5. Like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains, so shall they leap. So you know what chariots is. Chariots talking about the horses with the little wagons on the back that people sit on while the horse drag them along. It's going to be thousands of them, but it's going to sound like them. It's not going to be actual chariots. It's going to be a lot of people all at once, and it's going to be loud. Right? Okay. Now let's read from the beginning of verse 5 again. Verse 5. Like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains, so shall they leap. Like the noise of a flame of fire that devoured the stubble, as a people set in battle array. So now we're seeing people set in battle array. That means, these people set in battle. They're ready to go to war. So now you're seeing where it's going. It's going into the war now. At first it was telling you how it's going to look when they start till they finish. Now they're going to tell you what's going to happen during this war. Right? So now, verse 6. Before their face, the people shall be much pain. All faces shall gather blackness. Everyone is going to be like, man, I can't believe this is really going on. Scared. Their faces is going to fail them because they're going to be so afraid of what's happening. Because it's going to be like no one's ever seen on earth before. Thousands on top of thousands on top of thousands of armies from each country will be warring against each other. Some going to be set up factions. Some going to be together. Some going to be alone. And America's going to be all alone by itself. All the nations are going to come against America in the end and destroy this place. They're going to realize that America is what's wrong with this earth, because they spread their debauchery, they spread their lies, and they spread their filthiness all over the earth. Right? Verse 7. So down here at verse 7. Let me scroll down a little bit to the top. Okay, now we are here at verse 7. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one of on his way. And they shall not break their ranks. As you can see now you see we're talking about armies marching. They won't break their ranks. Now we see we're talking about armies. Right? Now, neither shall one trust another. See what I'm saying? They're all going to be war against each other. Every one of these nations' army is going to be warring with the other nations' armies. Because no one would trust each other. This is foretold, this is written. Right? Neither shall one trust another. There shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So they're going to be going to war, and no one will be wounded. This is punishment. This is punishment because of what mostly all these nations did to the real children of Israel, and they're still doing it right now today. They're not going to be wounded, not just yet. The Most High wants them to suffer, right? Verse 9, they shall run to and fro in the city. So now we get into the city. Now you see when we talk about different nations warring against each other. Now we going into the city. Like I said, it's going to be a World War III against all nations, one against another. And also there will be civil war going on around the earth. Not just America, but the entire earth. Each cities, each countries and their cities, they're all going to be going against each other. It's going to be a civil war within each country as World War III is going on. Hence the day of gloominess, the day of darkness. Verse 9, they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run up on the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. So they're going to be trying to hide places. On top of roofs, going in abandoned apartments and houses. They shall enter in the windows like a thief. Verse 10. The earth shall quake before them. Remember, I said there's going to be major weather changes. It's going to be super earthquakes, super volcanic eruptions, super tornadoes. And what I mean about super volcanic eruptions, Yellowstone Park. Yellowstone Park. That whole park is a volcano, an active volcano, and is set to erupt at any given moment. Why it's taking so long? Because the Most High is holding it back for this day that we're speaking of right now. If you don't know where Yellowstone Park is, it's in Wyoming. And I think it's like 2, maybe 3 different states. That's how big it is. But imagine that big super eruption. Imagine the distress it would be on Earth, especially right in the vicinity of it. Right in the vicinity. Because whoever's in that vicinity is going to be incinerated. Everything in that vicinity, every person in that vicinity will be incinerated, just like that. The ones far away, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be weather changes. Major weather changes. The ash is going to sit in the skies for months. Block out the sun for months. Maybe a few years. Who knows? Whatever the Most High wants to happen. But you know, when this thing comes, it's not going to be over just like that. It's not going to be over just like that. It's going to go on for a long time. A lot of people are going to be punished. Right. Then, let's see. It says, where were we? Okay. The sun and the moon shall be dark. The sun and the moon shall be dark. All the smoke, all the thick ash from the supervolcanic eruption from Yellowstone Park, all that will accumulate within the atmosphere. Block out the sun and block out the moon. Block the moon out, which is the sun and the moon. Hence, the sun and the moon not giving its light, right? And the stars shall withdraw their shining, right? You won't be able to see nothing in the skies, in the heavens. No stars, no moon, no sun. Verse 11. And the Most High shall utter his voice before his armies, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executed his word, which means he's gonna, every word that I've spoken up to this point and to the point where I'm going to go, is all gonna be executed. The Most High is orchestrating all of this. I'm gonna read it again so you can understand. The Most High is orchestrating all of this. The one you call God is executing all of this. He's making it happen. Verse 11. And the Most High shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that executed his word. For the day of the Most High is great and very terrible. Who can abide it? So the day of the Most High is terrible. Everybody always says, these Christians, I love you because you're my brothers, you're my sisters. But your pastor always say, we wait on the day of the Most High. Do you know the Most High day is terrible? Of darkness, wars, civil wars. This is the day of the Most High that you're waiting on. Are you sure that you're ready for that day? Because if you're not ready for that day, all this stuff that I'm speaking about, all the stuff that I'm bringing out from the scriptures, from the Most High's mouth, from the horse's mouth, as you like to say, is going to be going on during the day of the Most High. So be sure of what you're saying. Be sure that you're ready. Because if you're not, you're going to be caught up in all of this. You are not going to be set aside. All right. Like he said, who can abide it? All right, verse 12. We're down here at verse 12. Therefore also now said the Most High, turn ye even unto me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. So he's talking to you Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. He's not telling the whole world this. If he was telling the whole globe this, why was he not telling the people that's going to war this? So he's telling you Israelites, you 12 tribes, turn unto him with mourning, with weeping, and fasting. All right. Verse 13. So we down here at 13. And rent your heart and not your garments. So your garments means nothing to the Most High. Of course we have to wear them, our natural garments. But that's not what's going to give you salvation. He read your heart, which is your mind, not this organ. He's talking about your mind. He knows your thoughts. Right? And turn unto the Most High your power, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repented him of the evil. Right? So the things that was falling upon the earth, the Most High going to repent him of that. Right? He's going to make up to us for this, which is really what he's saying. Right? Verse 14. Who knoweth if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind him? See? He's going to bless us. Right? And even a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Most High your power. Verse 15. Blow ye the trumpet or shofar in Zion. Sanctify a feast. Sanctify a feast. Call a solemn assembly. Gather the people. Sanctify the congregation. So this is how we know that he's talking about Israel. And assemble the elders. Gather the children and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Which he's telling us, he's been telling us to gather ourselves together. Throughout the scriptures, telling us gather together. Fighting, arguing, debating is not bringing us together. A lot of us have to be men and women to be able to agree to disagree. We don't have to agree on everything, but what's mainly important is us coming together under one mind, which means we know who the Most High is. We're all calling out to the same Father. That's what he means by one mind. We don't have to agree on everything, but what we do agree on, our common ground is the Father. He wants us to come out together, gather together, and call unto him. All the other stuff will come together. But first we have to do that. We have to come together first before all the other stuff, all the other things come together. Right? Verse 17. Let the priest, the ministers of the Most High, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Most High, and give not thine heritage to reproach. So now we seeing that he's talking about Israel. Who is his heritage? Israel is his heritage. Judah and Israel is his heritage. And also his people, which is said throughout the scriptures. And the heathen, now we're talking about the other nations. You see how he put a difference between Israel and the other nations? So he was talking about Israel. Now he's talking about the other nations, which our people call heathen. And the heathen should rule over them, right? Which is what's going on right now. The heathen is ruling over us right now. That's why you see a lot of us getting killed by police officers. Nothing's done to them. Getting killed by a lot of people, a lot of these other nations that's not police officers, that's regular citizens, and nothing happens to them. Right? Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their God? So a lot of people out there always say, where is your God? They've been saying it for a long time. Our ancestors used to march and sing Negro spirituals. They call it Negro spirituals, but they really were songs to the Most High. That's what they really was. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya means come by here, my Lord. Come by here. So these so-called Negro spirituals was really songs to the Most High, right? So we've been doing that for years and years and years and decades. So people sit back like, wow, they've been doing this for years. Where's their God that they be praying to? Trying to make a mockery out of us. Because they can't mock the Most High, but they could try to make a mockery out of his people. Verse 18. So let me go down. Go down to verse 18. So we up here at the top at verse 18. Okay. Verse 18. Then will the Most High be jealous for his land. Where is his land? The land of Israel. You have to listen to what the scriptures is saying, what the prophet Joel is trying to explain. He's showing you the difference between the heathen and Israel. What he's going to do for Israel and what the heathen is doing. Right? Verse 18, then will the Most High be jealous for his land and pity his people. Pity his people, which is Israel. Who's lives on that? Who's supposed to be living on that land? The true children of Israel. So he's gonna be jealous for his land because the people who live on the land is not supposed to be there. He's going to pity his people, which is the true 12 tribes of Israel. Right? Verse 19. Yea, the Most High will answer and say unto his people, Israel, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. So he's going to set his people right. And we're going to no more be mocked, asking where's our God, and calling us all kind of derogatory names like nigger, or all these different types of names they have for us. No more of that. It's going to be too much war going on for them to be thinking about that. Period. They're not going to be thinking about white supremacy or, other nations putting us down. They're not going to be thinking about that. They're going to be too busy going to war with each other. Right? Then it says, I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. So now, you hear that again. He was telling his people that he would not make him a reproach anymore among the other nations, which is they call heathen. Right? Your Christian pastor won't speak about this, but I'm going to show you. Right? Verse 20. So we over here at verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army. So the armies that's going around blasting each other, killing each other, or shooting each other, trying to shoot each other down. The northern armies, will be moved far away from us. We won't be touched by them or any other army. They won't even be able to know where we're at. Right? And will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and hinder part toward the uttermost sea. And his stink shall come up. That stink will be dead bodies. So the smell from the dead bodies will rise up. And his ill savor shall come up, because he had done great things. Verse 21. Fear not, O land. Now we talking about Israel, right? Be glad and rejoice, for the land will do great things. Verse 22. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pasture of the wilderness do spring. For the tree beareth her fruits, and the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. So he's telling the animals don't fear. Because you gotta understand, these heathens, they take these animals and they imprison them as well. They cut down the forest and the trees where the animals have to live, to build their houses and their dwelling places. This is why you see deers running out into the street getting hit by cars and other animals running out into the street, because they have nowhere else to go. Now they have to live amongst us when they had somewhere to go. But if they wouldn't turn down trees and forests to build their plants, power plants, and houses and businesses and things like that, you wouldn't see things like that. Period. Alright. Verse 23. Be glad then, ye children of Zion. Now we see he's talking about Israel, aka Zion. And rejoice in the Most High, your power, for he hath given you the former rain mediocrely, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain and the latter rain in the first month. So now, the first rain and the latter rain. The first rain was what? When we was in Israel getting their milk and honey. Right? The latter rain is going to be the same thing. We're going to rebuild our cities in Zion, and we're going to regain that milk and honey. And it says, verse 24, and the floors shall be full of wheat, and the fats shall overflow with wine and oil. So we're going to regain all of our things back. Our land will be fruitful again, because right now Israel is barren. We're going to regain our fruitfulness from the land. We're going to be able to drink that sweet wine again. Right? And I will restore you, and I will restore to you the years that the locust had eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar and the palmer worm, my great army which I have sent among you. This is part of what drove us out of Israel. This is when the curses had begun to fall upon Israel for disobedience, for worshiping another God, which is what some of our people are doing today. They worship another God. Some knowingly and some being led that way. Take the Star of David for it. There is no such thing as Star of David. You cannot go to the scripture and find Star and David in the same, beside each other in the same sentence. There is no Star of David. There is the Star of Moloch. So the people who has that star, putting that star on their clothes, on their garments, pictures, whatever, that's worshiping Moloch, not worshiping the Most High. Right? Now, and verse 26, so we're down here at verse 26. I'm gonna bring it to the top. We're almost done, y'all. I'm gonna bring it to the top. Okay, so we up here at verse 26. And ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Most High, your power, that had dealt wondrously with you. And my people shall never be ashamed. So the 12 tribes will never be ashamed again. We'll never be ashamed ever again. We're not going to be ashamed of who we are. We're not going to be ashamed of the color of our skin. We're not going to be ashamed of our hair. Because right now, a lot of our people are ashamed. They are ashamed. This is why you see a lot of our people, especially a lot of people who have money. They go bleach their skin. They go straighten out their hair. They change their hair color from black to blonde. Because our people are ashamed of themselves. So the Most High is saying, we're not going to be ashamed anymore. Never be ashamed anymore. While World War III is going on, this is what's going to be going on for us. While the heathen out there fighting, this is what's going to be going on for us. Alright, verse 27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, not in the midst of the heathen. In the midst of Israel, not in the midst of the other nations, in the midst of Israel. So he at his own mouth said that, so ye may know that I am in the midst of Israel. And that I am the Most High, your power, and none else. See, he said he's the Most High, your power. He's your God. He's talking to Israel, so he's not talking to the other nations. So he's letting you know that he is your God. Right? And my people shall never be ashamed. My people, not the heathen, not aka the other nations. But his people shall never be ashamed. There we go again. Verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your old man shall dream dreams. When he said all flesh, we know who he's talking to. He's talking to Israel, as we've seen before this. He's talking to Israel. If you go back up to verse 27 or verse 25, you will see that he's talking to Israel. Not all the nations, not every other nation. Right? So he's saying he's your God, right? And he says we're gonna have the power of prophecy, which we are doing now, and also to dream dreams, and our young men shall see visions. Right? When we dream dreams, you gotta understand, dreams is just not something just that happens. Dreams are something that's gonna tell you what's going on. Some of you know when you dream something. Later on down in the future, it may not be months, and it may take a couple of years, but whatever you dream comes about, because mine have a lot of times. As the Most High as my witness, the Most High Yahweh as my witness. said again, the Most High, Yahweh, is my witness. A lot of dreams that I've dreamed have came true. So these are visions. Right? Sometimes people have night terrors. Now those are something different. Those are still messages sent to you. Those are messages. The difference between visions and messages. Something that you need to know. So you have to decipher that dream to understand what the dream is trying to tell you, what message is trying to be sent through your dream. Right? Verse 29. And also upon the servants and upon the housemaids in those days I'll pour out my spirit. Right? So we're all servants right now. We're still serving the Europeans. We're still serving them right now today. This is why we have no power to do anything. Right? Verse 30. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. So he's going to show us all these other nations fighting against each other in World War III. He's going to show us all these different people fighting each other in the Civil War. We're going to witness these things. But we're going to be set aside watching from the outside. Verse 31. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Most High comes. So, like I said again, Christian brothers and sisters, you have to understand that the day of the Most High is not a joyous day for a lot of people. Now, for the awakened, for the ones who are awake and know the truth and go by the truth and stand by the truth and try to keep these commandments to the best of their ability, it's going to be joyful because we know that we're going home back to Zion. We're going to be everything that we had in ancient times will be restored to us tenfold. So, for you Christian brothers and sisters, remember when you're saying that you're waiting on the Most High of His day. Think about what you're saying. If you're not awakened to the truth and knowing who you are, and you're not keeping these commandments, guess what? You shouldn't be waiting on that day, because that day, it's not going to be good for you. Okay. Now, verse 32. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Most High shall be delivered. So we know he's talking to Israel when he's saying this. We already read that he was speaking to Israel when he was saying all these things. So, for in Mount Zion, see, there we go. In Mount Zion, he's not talking about the other nations, the heathen, aka the other nations. He's talking about Zion. And in Jerusalem, so Judah and Israel, shall be deliverance. Bow! There we go. So in Judah and Israel, there shall be deliverance. We're going to be delivered from all this. Like I told you before, he's going to set us aside. Remember I said that earlier. So we're going to be delivered from all this World War III and Civil War stuff and martial law and FEMA camps. We're going to be delivered from that. We're not even going to be in the midst of none of that. As the Most High has said, and in the remnant of Judah and Israel, whom the Most High shall call. these are the ones who are awakened. So the Most High is going to call those who are awakened. He's going to set them aside to witness the destruction of America and all these other nations. There's going to be so much death. It's going to last for months. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that deeper on the next video. That's all I have to you today, family. I appreciate you stopping by my new channel, The Undeniable Scriptures TV. I hope you subscribe, like the video, comment, share it with family members who are not awakened, share it with friends who are not awakened, people who you work with. Wake them up. With that being said, all praises, honor, and glory due to the one and only Most High Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. And also, thank you for tuning in and supporting the brother. Remember, go get those books. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed to my other channel, that's the exposing the government, FEMA, and all these other things, these secret societies. Subscribe to that channel. Leave a like, share those videos. With that being said, shalom, family. I'm out.